Welcome into the Sources Say podcast, your go-to Kentucky basketball podcast on the KSR Podcast Network, presented by our very delicious friends at Parlor Pizza. Shout out to Parlor Pizza and them getting us through a very difficult trip to Fayetteville and all of the highs and lows that came with it. It was a bizarre trip, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without our friends at Parlor Pizza. So thank you for your support, as always, and thank you for the listeners. Thank you for your support and tuning in for a very celebratory, as exciting as it gets, victory for the Kentucky Wildcats. We are on our way back from Fayetteville, just having an absolute ball, Stephen Peake, to celebrate a just season-altering victory over John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
It's always so much more fun. The drive home goes by so much faster when we're listening to all the post-game shows from last night and all of the YouTube takes and getting to just relive those moments from the previous night over and over. This is one of the least likely wins that I've ever covered for Kentucky sports, football or basketball. I mean, this was, for me, I felt like out of nowhere. I know they were only 6.5 point dogs, but dude, I'm just like, LSU fans, look at that. I'm on cloud 9, 10, 11, whatever it is that Malachi Marino's mom was talking about, and trying to not run into the semi. So I think that's good. But look at this, guys. 2 hands on the wheel, 2 eyes on the road. You're going to see that the entire podcast.
Wow. I'm very, very proud of you.
Yes.
So we're not going to dig into the nitty-gritty, what happened with every individual play but I do feel, because we did that last night in our very long, drawn-out, rapid reaction of just kind of disbelief, speechless, trying to piece together what happened on the fly, because it really was truly just as it's unfolding, like, there's no way that this is an actual real-life thing. So I'm glad that you kind of got our raw, natural reaction to a very just wild day there at Bud Walton Arena. But today, it is fair to kind of get some post-morning thoughts. How did you wake up this morning outside of like, whoa, I can't believe that wasn't a dream? Any lingering takeaways, things that, jump back out because you've watched the highlights 75,000 times already by now. Anything that jumped out at you that we didn't get to necessarily address in a rapid reaction after the fact?
Well, I woke up very fatigued, felt very tired, felt like I didn't sleep a whole lot, but then I can't really complain because, Jack, you were up until I think the sun was rising when you finally called it a night, and then so you're only on a couple hours of sleep, I think, right?
2, 3, something like that. But that's, hey, you know what?
But the energy's there because the Cats got a big win. That's how I feel. Like, I'm just, I want to get home and rewatch the whole game, see what all went down in those wild 38 seconds. Probably, I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've watched, I don't even know how many basketball games. I've never seen one team get 3 technicals in a row, whether it was deserved or not. We don't need to go into all the officiating stuff again, but just the fact that it happened is I've never seen it before. So I want to go see that. And then this is a game that I'll probably watch highlights of like decades from now. Like, honestly, like it's of all the regular season wins, this ranks up there. And I think we'll talk about this a little later about where it might rank in Mark Pope's top 10 wins so far as Kentucky's head coach.
Yeah, that's what this show is going to be. It's more of now that the dust has settled, all the things that we said in those pregame shows leading up to it about what would a win mean. Like, it was so unlikely in real time that you kind of just had a hard time buying into the next days and like, okay, well, how do you prepare to take on Oklahoma? And then you have that response trip back in Lexington after upsetting Tennessee in Knoxville. Can you earn another series sweep? Thinking long term about it. There was a concern if you didn't win that one and it was ugly, you had those thoughts of like, where are you going to find 4 wins in the rest of the schedule? Now you look at it and you go, all right, well, can you close out on 7-3 in the SEC, something like that, to potentially make a run at a 5 seed, 4 seed, something like that. Feel really, really good going into Nashville, and can you get a double bye? potentially play in the weekend for the very first time, and who knows how long, and can we play on a championship Sunday? Those things that are now very much real. Again, in terms of just individual standouts, obviously it was the Otega-Oweh show. Unbelievable effort there. He is rounding into form as a true SEC Player of the Year contender, the way we thought he was going to be going into the season. He is right there in the conversation, is belonging of the conversation. Steven and I did a lot of legwork leading up to this about how many points he would have to average the rest of the season to, get in the top 50 of the all-time scoring ranks and all that stuff. He's trending toward Antonio Reeves territory, Steven, and we were talking, if he just inches past them ever so slightly, like he's in some pretty unbelievable territory where I have the list pulled up. We could be flirting with Darius Miller, Jody Meeks, Darren Feldhaus, Chuck Hayes, Roderick Rhodes, Wayne Turner, Reggie Hansen, Randolph Morris, Oscar Sheboy, Jeff Shepard, Rex Chapman, Dirk Minifield, Terrence Jones. Like, the list is insane, and we do need to recognize that in real time. That we have 9 games left of Otega-Oweh in a Kentucky uniform, at least in the regular season. Enjoy these. Otega's an awesome player, and I'm very glad that he's starting to, especially in that moment, how much he clearly wanted this Arkansas one. Don't take these games for granted, because Otega's he's a good one.
Yeah, man. We were talking about where will he end up ranking as far as, where will the fans put Otega-Oweh in terms of all-time great Kentucky players, and that's what kind of got us thinking about where he would fit in the all-time scoring list. And yeah, he's in really, really good company with, I think we projected he'll probably pass Jeff Shepard. Who are the other names? Jamal McClure was on there. Mm-hmm. There's some really big names. So, if he's passing those guys up in all-time scoring, then he's in the conversation of, a guy that Kentucky fans are never going to forget, but one of the people that he's going to be a guy who comes back and is the why. He's going to be one of the alums that is a celebrity whenever he comes back. Like they all are, but there are some more so than others for sure. And Otega is going to be he's a rock star already. And you putting it like that, where you only have 9 regular season games left with Otega-Oweh, kind of makes me sad. He really did. I think that injury, that turf toe injury, really hurt how he got going this year. But we kind of take for granted, as I did last year too, his scoring output. And not only does he score, he gets steals, he plays good defense, but him just casually scoring 20 points a game. Like last season, he's averaging nearly 17 points a game this year, but in the SEC play, is he above 20 in SEC play, or is he right at it?
No, he's there. Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of wild that you can have a guy who averages that many points, and you just feel like you take him for granted every game.
He's already at 950 combined points, which is 1 point behind Travis Ford, already ahead of Walter McCarty.
But Travis Ford do a 51% three-point shooter.
Marquise Estel, P.J. Washington. He's already beaten P.J. Washington. Richie Farmer, Anthony Epps, James Blackman, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Wow.
This is he is in that all-time territory, especially in terms of per season territory. Dude just produces. All he did, he wakes up with double figures. I think he's up to 55 of 58 career games or something in a Kentucky uniform. He's hit the double figure marks, and it's insane. He deserves all the credit in the world for it. He was a total animal down there in Fayetteville, and in Kentucky absolutely doesn't even come close in that game without Otega-Oweh. Outside of that, a couple of the honorable mentions of game MVPs. Trent Noah, yes. I loved what he came watching back on the highlights. Man, he came up with some unbelievably tough rebounds, and it was such a tough spot for him to come in, because it was Jasper Johnson in that first wave of backups. He picks up 2 fouls in 4 seconds, and it was like, oh shoot, all right, Trent, let's see what you got. So he was totally out of sorts on paper about what he should have been able to produce, and for him to go get 9 and 7 and grab some real tough 50-50 balls, and put Kentucky in a spot where you didn't allow Arkansas to go out and get in transition and kind of play with the pace and the up and down. He came up with some big stops. Didn't allow them to get any second chance opportunities. Really, really, really impressive stuff from Trent Noah there. Malachi Moreno again. really lived up to the billing and the hype there as a, head-to-head with two productive bigs with Pringle and Ewing, being able to top both of them. Like he outperformed both of them in that 11.7 rebound performance for him as well. So Malachi, he just kind of wakes up and produces, and that's another thing that I didn't.
Better enjoy him too.
Honestly, well, we just got another draft update where, what was it, 20? Or was that 16?
He's
20?
all over the board from like 15 to 30. There's a lot of draft boards now that are starting to include Malachi's name, and it's a conversation that I think like we kind of not really joked about, but just didn't really take that serious early on, as some of the, as I called him on the Rapid Reaction, Zach Gagan points it out to me, these NBA nerds on Twitter. But at this point, like, do we need to start having that conversation of, is it guaranteed that Malachi Marino is playing 2 years at Kentucky? It just, it sort of stinks, Jack. You've had now, that would be a second Kentucky kid who comes in and is a rock star, and you only get him for 1 year. So that would be, I don't want to say disappointing, but I guess there's no other really word to say it. We'd be, congrats Malachi. But what do you think? Do you think we get a second year out of Malachi?
I think he's close enough to where the money is just going to be so much better as opposed to an end of first round. I think he'd be an end of first round pick guy, but I think the money would just be so much better. Kind of similar conversation with Ortega this past year. I don't think he's going to be, it's not going to be as lucrative a deal that Ortega got, but definitely in the conversation of like, hey, he's an anchor piece. Like, he's a guy that you build your roster around, and I think he's going to welcome that with open arms. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He loves being here, and it's a very Malachi-friendly system. The offense is running through him, so it's not like there's any type of like playing time or role or fit or any of those types of concerns. It's more about building around him to make sure you're putting, better talent for him to facilitate for outside of Malachi. So those three definitely major eye catchers. And then Colin Chandler, man. Every chance that he has to come up in a massive spot to win you a basketball game, whether it's hitting the big shot to either put it away or, put you in position to put it away, or the full court heave in Baton Rouge to allow Malachi Moreno to hit the game winner. And it's either a play for himself or a play for a teammate or a play for the team in general that is allowing Kentucky to stack some of these victories. And that turnaround jumper, and yes, we didn't get the benefit of the doubt with that, but drawing up that play for him to ice it in like a very Kobe Bryant fashion, where it was just a like clear out, coming down the lane, right side pickup, turnaround, fade away. It was like, that was a pro move. That was a pro move, and it iced it. That ended the game. That sent Kentucky home with a massive victory. So that grouping, total game changers, total difference makers that allowed Kentucky to feel very, very good about itself coming into this next stretch of the season. So moving in outside of just the individual stuff, moving into what the game means, what the win means. Now that we have it in our hands, it's a tangible victory. What does it mean moving forward? I came up with a couple, kind of discussion questions that we can kind of bounce back and forth with in this, little drive podcast here with Sources Say. In general, Stephen, what does it mean to this fan base? Why was it so important to kind of get this John Calipari monkey off of our backs as fans? You as passionate of a fan as you are, why did it mean so much to just kind of prove that you can win in the post-Cal era?
Well, I think this win for the fans and for Mark Pope is just so big for a number of reasons. Specifically about Cal, here in the last month or so, there's just been, we did a poll before the game. There was about, there was like 30-something% of the 400, 500 responses who said that they would switch and have Calipari today. And there were some Arkansas fans that were in the chat, so we rounded it down to like 27 percent, estimating what the percentage would be, but it's somewhere probably around that point. So this at least, like, it shuts those people up. Like Cal's gone. Kentucky can beat Calipari. They did last night, and also just to give another top 15 win to Mark Pope, and like he set a record last year with the most top 15 wins. It gives you that, okay, he didn't forget how to coach basketball. Maybe the roster construction wasn't best suited for how he wants to coach, but he can coach, and he game planned, and he absolutely outcoached Kentucky staff, outcoached the Arkansas staff in those final 5 to 6 minutes of the game. Because you can say, well, yeah, Kentucky made shots they don't normally make, and Cal was saying, our guys missed wide open shots and they're officiating, but for the last 4 or 5 minutes, Mark Pope, I think, aside from that little inbound situation when the lead got cut to 8,
yeah.
But yes, the drawing up the play there, giving the ball to Colin Chandler with 7 seconds on the shot clock, right? Yeah, 7 seconds on the shot clock. And also on that play, credit Trent Noah. I just wanted to give him a shout out for knowing to call a timeout there, and it was the last one they had. So I think it's big to get that Calipari monkey off your back. That he came in, ruined February 1st, 2025 for us, and on January 31st, 2026, you go into Bud Walton and ruin their night.
It's always just so sweet. I think it was just for ego more than anything, just to say you won the breakup. Like it's like seeing your ex-girlfriend thriving in a new job, or with their new boyfriend or husband or whatever the case may be. Road trips with Steven, they never get old.
Literally, that's so. Why would you do that? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's like fans just wanted to. It's a battle of egos. It's like I just want to be a little bit more successful than my ex. It's not that I want. Some will say they want Cal to fail, but at minimum they just want to be as successful or more successful as the ex. That is, and fans I think viewed Pope had been still in that kind of wishy-washy era of like, is this truly the guy? Year 1 was so magical. Year 2 has been a disaster in terms of PR hits and all of the wackiness, the highs and lows of this year. They just kind of wanted to get that proof of, okay, well, we were in the right here. And I think by doing that and doing it in the fashion that they did with the Super Bowl whiteout and the towels and all of the t-shirts, all that stuff, it really, like, they were invested in that one to win that one, and you went down there, stole it as an underdog, and you now have split the series. Very similar to kind of the, both teams going to a Sweet 16. There's no upper hand right now. It's kind of all right, we hit refresh, hit reset. Now we go into next season is, okay, who's going to break the tie? So I think that's why it was just important for fans to just not feel like they're behind in any way. They can still feel like we're trending back toward the top of blue blood status and all that stuff, and proving that we're, not ridiculous with our expectations, as some national analysts would say that Kentucky fans are right now. What gives you the belief, Steven, that the way in which they won and the competition that they beat is sustainable, that we can beat Oklahoma, then win Tennessee, the Denham game against Tennessee, and continue to stack these victories?
Well, I mean, okay, I'll be honest with you about this. I don't know that it is sustainable. I'm not really sure.
Well,
I guess
my next question is going to be, what are your concerns to think that it's not sustainable? So
this has to be, I can do both.
An only positive. Like, what was that's what we're going to be hanging on for the next couple of weeks to say that's why the turnaround happened?
Well, I think for one, I thought that you needed to hit 10 or 12 threes to win that game, and they only hit 6. So it's not, again, it's not like, we just have to get hot from 3 to be able to beat these good teams. That kind of proves that, well, actually, they don't. They can get downhill and get to the basket, which they did. They can cause turnovers and get easy points in the other direction. I mean, they're, defense leading to offense, even when their defense isn't getting very many stops. I was impressed by Kentucky's ability to get to the basket all game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and several different guys being able to do it. I was impressed
Against
with,
athletes, man.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Malachi getting some cleanup buckets around the rim. So you're scoring in a variety of ways. So that I don't know how sustainable it is, or is it just that, like, what was the stat about Calipari's defense in the last month? They're like 321st.
2-point defense, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but he sucks. He's really bad at it, and it has been bad at it. If it's been the same one, Jack. The 2-point defense has been bad, and so, like, was it just Arkansas, or did Kentucky figure some things out? I will say, I was really impressed with the way that Ortega and Denzel, for one, outside of maybe a couple of step-back shots from Ortega, and he made one, they didn't really take bad shots. So that was the other issue, even in the Vanderbilt game. Just because you think, just as we got done with this 5-game winning streak where it felt like we were taking better shots, we were being a little bit more patient, and we were sharing the ball more, right? Well, I thought they passed the ball really well last night. They didn't take bad shots. And Ortega, his little, like, S drive to the basket, it was smooth. Like, it wasn't just him, like, lowering his shoulder and just driving in. He was making, like, good quality basketball moves to get to the rack for either a handoff or a kick out, or to take it to the rack himself. So that part could be sustainable. I want to believe it is, obviously. What do you think?
I think my confidence comes from riding the wave of the rotation without just feeling the need to push, pull, yank, in, out. How this rotation has been tightened up, where Otega Owe played 38 minutes. And for Kentucky to win a lot of basketball games, Otega's going to have to play 38 minutes. Like, that's just going to be the new norm for this group. And you go down the list of who played however much. Denzel, 38 minutes. Malachi Moreno, 27 minutes. Mo Diabate, 26 minutes. Colin Chandler, 23. Trent Noah, 19, which that's a surprise. Yelovich, 13, should be playing more than 13. And Brandon Garrison, 13. And that's it. Like, Jasper Johnson played 3 minutes. Foul trouble was an issue, but that was also, I think, just it was not a Jasper game. Like, he did not play well, and I think I appreciate that Pope read the game and said, this is not a Jasper game. I'm riding with the guys that I can trust to go win me this basketball game, and he did. And I think I remember leaving Pro Day, and we kind of asked a very similar question when we had the whole panel with Spencer and Sean with us, of what's going to be the reason why this team doesn't live up to the hype. Mm-hmm. And we said that Pope kind of over-obsesses with the depth and feeling the need to make sure everybody's happy, and that, shoot, this guy hasn't played in 4 minutes. Well, we got to get him a chance. Oh, but man, what about this guy? And getting so caught up in that instead of just saying, hey, this guy has to build confidence and play through some of these mistakes. And Jasper's a guy who kind of is the next man in that. But Trent Noah, I think, was the best example of that, where he played 19 minutes and we got without him just going, Tennessee and Knoxville, 3 for 4 from 3, he contributed in so many different ways because it was confidence, man. He was able to play through a lot of that stuff and made an impact on winning. So I do think that that's going to be a game changer. That I hate that it happened the way that it did with the injury situation. I hope that things work out with Jaden and Cam by the end of the year, that we have to kind of re-investigate this. But as things stand right now, is we just got to develop a resume and stack wins and build some real momentum going into the postseason. I love that the rotation's getting tightened up.
That's a good point. That's a big one. And I do like you said. I mean, Trent Noah kind of showed parts of his game where I thought maybe he couldn't be on the floor. He actually did really well with last night. The physicality. You said 7 rebounds. Mm-hmm. And how many tough boards did he get?
A ton of them. How many times while we were sitting by each other said, tough.
Yes.
It wasn't just good board, Trent.
Yeah, they didn't just fall in his lap. Is what I'm saying. Like, these were aggressive rebounds.
Yes, get get after it, man. Like, yeah, it was awesome. I love Trent's performance, but was this enough, this win? You know, we talked about going in that it wasn't a Super Bowl for us, but it was a really important win that if nothing else happens, this doesn't turn into a SEC regular season championship or SEC tournament championship or, you know, second weekend or whatever. Will this win be enough to kind of keep this fan base, you know, their appetite fulfilled? Do you feel any differently now that you have the win in hand than you did going in as kind of like, I don't want to say it was a moral victory, but a moral season victory, I guess. Yeah. Do you feel any differently about it?
Oh, yeah. I feel very different. I mean, it's just, you know, what I was feeling 24 hours ago. 4 o'clock, what are we in, Central Time still? 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. Dude, it's night and day. Like, now I can go down that schedule where I was struggling to find 4 wins and go, well, okay. I mean, if you can go and beat Arkansas on the road, Arkansas, talent-wise, is a top 3 SEC team.
Sure.
I mean, it might be Florida, Alabama, Arkansas. And we saw what Alabama did today. So, you know, Arkansas might be the second most talented team. We'll see. Also,
shout out Todd Golden for calling his shot, saying we're going to kick their ass and kicking their ass with Charles Bediako. That was some awesome stuff.
Wow.
Like, that was quite the statement, but yeah, it can continue.
Sorry, I thought you were going to talk longer. Yeah, it makes me feel different in that I can see more wins on the schedule. Is the way that they won sustainable? Is what I'm still, I don't know. I mean, I understand Vanderbilt was making a lot of shots. How come Kentucky could only score 55 points? Like, why didn't shots go in that day? And that's where I'm kind of like, is this just going to be like an off and on thing, which can give you plenty of great moments to get you through the season, you know, but it probably doesn't end in any, you know, cutting down of nets or anything like that. But if you can show me through this next stretch of games that you can mimic this performance, well, I can get on board with this style of play. I mean, again, I thought they were going to have to shoot lights out from 3, and they didn't. I mean, they shot a decent percentage, right? What was it, 6 of?
Yeah, they shot great, 46.2%.
Yeah, that's a really high percentage. So yeah. I take back the percent, but they only made 6. I thought they were going to have to make maybe double that. And let's see it a few more times. But this is now what, 6 of 7 that Kentucky has won.
Yep.
You have a very winnable game coming up.
Should be 7 of 8. Needs to be 7 of 8.
And then you host Tennessee, and you do that again versus UT, and because I want to see 2 halves. And I thought last night we saw 2 really good halves of Kentucky
Most
offense.
Complete game of the season, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And they got the stops when they needed them. So, you know, I don't know if it's something that can continue to replicate, but we're going to let the games play out and see if they can. I can be easily swayed, as you noticed. Like, I mean, from where we were 24 hours ago to where we are now, and looking forward to the rest of the season. And if you can get that kind of production out of Trent Noah, right?
Yeah.
You know, that could be a key. Like, that could really be something that, you know, I thought it was going to be Jasper. I mean, I guess it's just going to be out of Jasper, Trent Noah, Brandon Garrison. One of those 3 guys gives you a standout performance. Maybe that's really all you need to make the difference, because Trent Noah was a difference maker last night.
I think, you know, how the game plan adjusted as the game went on is what kind of gives me some hope that it is sustainable, because you're never going to start 10 of 11 from the field,
right?
In most games. 11 of 13, like that is a total one-off, total random. Like, hey, when it happens, you go, hell yeah, glad it was our day today. But you never plan on something like that. But I also love that they didn't just, you know, see how hot they were to start with and then fire out 33s expecting the efficiency to stay. They cooled down, it kind of leveled back, came back down to earth briefly, but then they pivoted when they saw the Doug Shout's show become what it was with a foul every single time down the floor. They saw how the game was trending with the physicality and the toughness and the, ticky-tack fouls, and they said, okay, well, if this is how the game is going to be, we're going to go to the free throw line and take 30 free throws. We've seen them stack wins at the free throw line as well. So adapting and learning on the fly and collecting data, as Mark Pope likes to do, Pope said that they're changing how they practice. They're, a lot of what they do in terms of practice scrimmaging, it's going to be a lot of the first 4 minutes. We're going to try to win the first 4 minutes in these scrimmages and really try to set the tone early and hope that translates to the games. It did on Saturday. Is that sustainable? We hope. But I'm kind of hoping all of those things come together where you just can't kill yourself from the very beginning, get down by as much as they do, and then data collect, and then hope that I trust that as the game adapts, they're going to develop a strong game plan as it moves on and pivot where they need to. Mm-hmm. But it's just you can't live in that territory where you're always expecting to come back down by double figures. It doesn't matter who the competition is, how good, bad, ugly the other team is. So I start off maybe not 10 of 11 for shooting, but start off solid, build a nice cushion, and see if you can just level it off, maintain it, and I think that's a recipe for the rest of the season. How much leeway are you giving Pope this year for what has happened already, what could happen down the stretch, for injuries? Has that changed at all? Again, we don't do moral victories here, but is there anything that I view this stuff with, caveats and asterisks and...
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there was clearly, I think this was a flawed roster to begin with, and I'm not calling any individual player bad. These are all good players. I just don't know if with the system that Pope wants to run, if this was the right selection of players. I'll say it again. He said we don't have runaway talent. And for the money that you spent on the roster to put it together like this with pieces that just didn't seem to fit early on, I don't even think with injuries this team is going to a Final Four. I mean, yeah, you could make it, but I don't think they're getting a 1 seed, I guess was what I should say. It's not a 1 seed team, even fully healthy. And we didn't really get to see it that much, maybe when Jaden Quentin's got going. But this was, if your goal was we're getting a 1 seed this year to give ourselves the best shot at winning the national title, I just don't think this roster is the one that was going to do it. And again, I don't mean that as a slight to any individual player, just this guy's a great player, but it doesn't really fit with this guy, So with that huge caveat in mind, yes, he deserves a little bit of leeway because of the injuries. Now, how many years can we do this? If it happens again next year, and you had 7 injuries last year to 5 players, you've had 9 injuries this year to 9 different players, and I know I'm counting JQ's knee swelling in that, so if you want to say 8 injuries to 8 different players, that's fine. But I thought that when we got JQ back, he would have been good to go. I mean, that was probably naive of me to think that, but that's just kind of what we were told, that he was having this historic recovery, and so he'll be good to go when he comes back. And if it happens again next year, well, now you got to, okay, well then what's going on? Why the wear and tear? Other programs are not dealing with the same amount of injuries that Kentucky is playing with. I mean, we looked at the SEC injury sheet, and it was, there's 10 injuries, and 3 of them are Kentucky players, and all 3 of them are potential season-ending injuries. That's 30% of the entire, and I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. So, he deserves some grace because of that. Again, I don't think fully healthy that this would have been a team that would be favorited to win the national championship on February 1st, 2026. But yeah, that's tough, man. It's tough.
And here's we talked about this a little bit at lunch, but it's how much of this could have been solved by Pope just not talking about the Ferrari stuff and not throwing the 96. That was so unnecessary, that created a lot of the baseline expectation that we had about, we got to compare this to a 96 team. We got to compare this to a Ferrari.
Yeah, he did do that, didn't
you know,
he?
because from the beginning, we heard well, you better hope this isn't a Ford Pinto. You know, like if it's a Ferrari, you better drive like a Ferrari. How much of it, if Pope, as the practices started in the summer, as we got, transition out of the summer into the preseason, when Ortega got back in the fold, when you had, you weren't going to have Jaden, Yelovich was delayed and all that, but when you got close to the complete picture of what it was going to look like, those days leading up to Jalen Lowe's first shoulder deal with Blue-White game and all that, if you just acknowledged because that was right when the Ferrari and 96 stuff happened, so like he could have pivoted the other direction and said, guys, I like this team, I'm very confident that down the road,
What's that?
Oh, got him.
What?
Well,
I'm going 75. I think we're fine.
No, I was saying
that guy?
the van next to us that was accelerating. I thought the cops were going to see.
Okay, I was like,
van blow. I know you were
70.
fine.
Whew, your heart always just beats out of your chest whenever you're like, I don't want to deal with this shit.
Yeah, the van was trying
it's
to
also like
blow by us and didn't see the cops sitting there. I was like, oh man,
I also hit the
cooked.
brake, which is like a you're doing something. Even if you're not speeding, you're doing something. So
we're podcasting.
Yeah,
that's even worse. But like, man, if Pope had just been forthcoming about, or like, and I get it's a struggle because you're trying to instill confidence, and that's like one of the best things that he did last year. I remember talking to Travis Perry and some of Kerr Creasa, some of those guys. We were like, dude, when I'm in the gym with Mark Pope, he makes me feel like I'm gonna make 300 straight 3-pointers. Like I am just so confident shooting the ball that like he makes me believe. So I understand why even his messaging of, oh yeah, we're Ferrari, you should compare us to the 96 team. Part of that is to get back to the team and make them believe that they can be a Ferrari in the 96 team. But having an out, I think, would have been very, very beneficial to him to say, hey guys, we're going to lose games. I know that's not our standard. I know I want to win every single game, and you guys have every right to crush me with every single loss, but we're a little further behind than I thought we were going to be. The pieces haven't just totally gelled together, and it's not a perfect cohesive product the way I thought it was maybe going to as quickly as it was going to. So give us some patience. Like we heard that with Cal year after year when he knew that the team was going to be a De'Aaron Fox, a Tyrese Maxey, 2014-15. Like when he knew, he let you know about it. If he didn't have confidence in that team, he never put those types of expectations on any of them. So I think, and that's just learning the territory and knowing how to be the head coach at Kentucky, because he's never done this. He's never been in this position. So
I bet he'll never do it again, Jack. I bet that he'll never overhype a team. And I would say overhype. I don't know. Maybe he believed that. I think that he didn't have to like go out and publicly say this might be a year that we have to like build this team up, and we're playing for number 9. Yes. Like that might, we need to have
win 9 in different ways. Could have been like
we
don't have to go undefeated to get number 9.
Yeah, well that too. Yeah, but like we're building for this team. We have guys who are we have young underclassmen now. We have guys who can come back and contribute next year. Whereas last year you lost almost everybody. So, but that's something he could have relayed privately to the media to get the message out without him having to get in front of a microphone and say it. But I agree with you. I think that there was something about like, I'm going to instill some confidence. I'm going to show these guys how much I believe in them. And after that Purdue game where he compared to the 96, it felt like, well, yeah, you just beat the preseason number 1 by 12 and you kind of controlled the game from start to finish. Hey, like, why not?
To his credit, in that quote about the 96 comparison, he said, can you do it that way in 2026? Like, we did it in 96, but that also takes a lot of selflessness. That takes, sacrifice. So he did open himself up to an out, but when you throw a comparison out to one of the greatest teams ever assembled that he was the captain of, you automatically as a fan go, oh, well, if this guy was the captain of that team and he's seeing some comparisons to that team with this team, well, that's all you need to hear. They choose not to take the whole, the whole landscape of that quote. So had he just kind of lowered the bar a little bit and just said, hey, it's going to be a process. I love this team. Like, sounds like we're John Calipari here, but
I like my team.
But had he just kind of lowered the bar slightly, given himself a little bit more of an out, set the bar down here so the losses don't feel like absolute jumps off cliffs. Like, I think the Michigan State loss, for instance, had we been down here going in, it would just been like a slight down instead of just a total collapse. So
I do think that. I also think whoever leaked the $22 million thing did not help him or this basketball program at all. I think that has opened the door for, and it really, Jack, like, that opened the door for a lot of criticism. I mean, you and I have criticized this team for sure, but it's from the national media. Rob Douster, did a whole thing about a field of 68 about, hey, these guys are all making, this is a $22 million roster. Like, this isn't like they're playing for just a degree anymore and maybe a couple $1,000s under the table. Like, they're getting paid insane amounts of money. Nobody knows what other teams' budgets are. Like, nobody knows. They know Kentucky's.
Yeah, even if ballpark. Like, yeah. I know the ballpark of some of the other SEC programs, but there's always the benefit of the doubt. There's always that well, that's what I heard, but it could be, this was a reported $22 million roster.
In a paper by, from, the Lexington Herald, with direct access to, athletic directors, people around the athletic department that would know, and I don't think they're going to put that number in print if they didn't hear it from a source that they've always trusted, and no one's ever come out and denied it. If it really wasn't $22 million, and let's say, if it was, 18 million, maybe you don't, come on, guys, it was only 18. But if it was really, wherever a lot of the other schools are at, around, 10 to 12, you might come out and say, look, because you almost have to, because if it really wasn't $22 million, the locker room would be like, hang on, wait a minute, $22 million, wait a minute, where's all the money at?
It's like that We're the Millers quote, you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, exactly. So it probably, I would say that number is likely accurate, at least it's within that. So I don't think by putting that out there, they did Mark Pope or any of these players any favors. And I think that was a massive mistake, and for what it did for expectations, but also it really opened the door for criticism when things went bad, and the things did get bad. There's losses that you could have taken if you'd been in the games, but some of these were they were really bad losses with a lack of effort, and you had Mark Pope in press conferences saying some looking really sad, and it's I remember the Michigan State one thinking, oh no, he thinks I could see on his face he's worried this thing could get really bad.
Yeah.
And so to their credit, and to his credit, and he talked about how the guys have handled getting hated on and the heat that they're taking, and they come out and they put out a performance like they did against Arkansas. I'm hoping that it's the win that helps them turn the corner, because this would be a great story by the end of the season if they're able to overcome all of this and overcome the injuries and overcome all of the criticism that they've taken, whether it's warranted or not. To be able to show that resolve, I'm honestly, as a Kentucky fan, I'm really proud of this group, and I'm really proud of Mark Pope.
I totally agree. And to Pope's credit, he has been totally consistent from the beginning. He has not wavered on the what we're talking about. Hey, you could have given yourself an out and not painted this team up to be something that it isn't. He has said hey, we're going through a rough patch. We have some warts. We are an ugly, ugly, ugly product that we're fighting desperately to figure out, spending tireless hours and staying in the office till 3 o'clock. We are doing whatever it takes to get this thing fixed, but it's going to get fixed. I trust this group to be an amazing story. Hate all you want, call us whatever you want, attack us. That's what we signed up for, being here. But just know that I believe at the very end it's going to turn into the story that I said it would be at the beginning. So to their credit, man, it's the path isn't what anybody expected or hoped, but I'm proud of them for fighting out of that the absolute disaster that things were post Mizzou. and then especially post Vandy when it did feel kind of like all hope was lost. All right, we're going to see where this Arkansas win stacks up, and I think it's interesting. We don't have the same top 10 wins in the Mark Pope era through a season and a half. So I will share yours, and I'll share mine as a rebuttal, and we'll go from there. Stephen Peake's top 10 wins of the Mark Pope era. I don't know what that sound was, but
sound like
Duke at number 1. Is that me? Weird. Duke at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Florida number 2. Illinois number 3. Arkansas number 4. Ooh, Tennessee number 5, but it's pick any of the 3. You're just lumping all of them in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a cop-out because they're different. They are different.
They won in different
types
ways.
of ways.
Yeah, I agree. But I wanted to include some other games in there, but if I was being honest, like, as a Kentucky fan, we want to beat Tennessee every time. Those wins always feel good. And I was like, maybe I'll leave the one out from Rupp, but that one was, that was more impressive because you didn't have Jackson, you didn't have Lamont for the last 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were able to pull it out. Very true.
Gonzaga, hopefully not this Gonzaga game this season.
That one wasn't in my top 10, the one from this year.
The one in Cincinnati, Seattle, coming back 18 in the second half, definitely belongs. LSU buzzer beater, number 7. That's actually higher than I would expect. We'll have to talk about that one.
We will.
Oklahoma SEC tournament, buzzer beater from Ortega. That's a good one. Mississippi State last year, that was a fun trip to Starkville. That was the KSR exclusive with Pope afterward. Mm-hmm. We were the only people that made the trip.
Yeah.
And St. John's this year is your number 10. So I'm going to keep that here so I can use it as a reference point.
I got it. I think I got it up here now.
I have Duke at number 1.
Yes.
Illinois number 2.
Okay.
Arkansas number 3.
Ooh.
Florida number 4. St. John's number 5. And I'm not going to do the cop-out thing with I'm going to separate my Tennessee wins. I'm going at Tennessee year 1 at number 6. I'm going at Tennessee this year at number 7. Louisville last year, number 8. Gonzaga, number 9. And then at Missouri
it's a good one.
To wrap mine up.
That's a great game. Yep.
All right. Because we have some overlaps, we don't need to talk necessarily Duke, Florida, some of, those were, we know that.
Obvious top 5s. This is where you want them in your top 5.
Duke,
you had them 4th, the Florida game?
I had the Florida game 4th.
Okay.
Just because I thought, just quickly, Duke was Duke. Illinois, I had it at 2 because it was the history maker of the first time back to the Sweet 16. There's so much pressure to just get to the second weekend.
Yeah.
How they did it was a very talented Illinois team with some pro talent. Like I thought Pope absolutely crushed that from a coaching perspective. I think he really, really drew up a master class of a game plan.
They were underdogs.
Yeah.
Kentucky was underdogs as a 3 seed against a 6, and it never really was in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm. No, it was unbelievable. Arkansas, I had at 3. Just the emotions behind this one. I think that just goes without saying, knowing how things went last season compared to this year with the roles.
So is our top 5 the same, except for you have St. John's?
And I have St. John's in there. You have Tennessee.
All 3 of them. Yeah, it's a little bit of a cop-out, but I just, all 3 of those Tennessee wins, they all kind of lump together. When you beat Tennessee so often, though, it's like
it's a good point.
You have to do that.
Except for in the NCAA tournament.
We won the regular season, Jack.
I had St. John's at number 5 because that could have been one that Pope got so. I mean, I was using that as a knowing how year 1 against Cal went and how he kind of the emotions got to him, the magnitude of the game kind of got to him. I really thought that was one of the very few games last year that Kentucky just kind of came in unprepared and didn't live up to the moment. Like, it just felt like, that was Cal had his guys more ready than Pope did. And I thought, okay, well, if that's how he responded in that emotional environment against Cal, imagine his mentor, lifelong mentor, the guy that, arguably allowed the fan base to rally around him when he got the job. Like, without Rick Pitino's video telling the fan base, this is your guy, you need to support him. Like, does Pope even make it to where we are, to where he was, get the sold out press conference and just that total buy-in from the fan base. That happens because of Rick Pitino. So a lot of Pope's early success was a product of what Rick Pitino kind of served up for him and allowed him to do. And that's just beyond anything that he had in his life with as a player and all the memories that he was able to create as a player and winning a national championship and being a captain and playing in the NBA. He owes all of that to Pope in his mind, or Pitino in his mind. And then to think as a coach, well, now I'm welcome at Kentucky as the head coach leading this program because of Rick Pitino as well. I just feel like there's so much that he had owed to Pitino that when now it's my job to beat Pitino, that's a whole heck of a lot easier said than done. So I think the magnitude of that moment could have really slipped away, and that had blowout potential as well. And I thought he answered the bell, and Kentucky was awesome in that one. That was a very well coached, finish down the stretch, especially. So I got to be higher on St. John's than that. But
how about that? I mean, just like beating Rick Pitino and John Calipari in the same year is pretty awesome.
That's part of it as well for me. 2 Hall of Famers. Yeah, excellent. The difference that we have coming up, LSU buzzer beater at 7. Explain that one to me.
Well, we haven't had a true walk-off buzzer beater for Kentucky since 2004 at Mississippi State. Eric Daniels on the tip-in, or not tip-in, but the deflected pass, and he's able to lay it up at the buzzer. I don't even know the last time that Kentucky made a jump shot to walk off a game. I'll have to go back.
Did we ever find one?
No, in my lifetime, I don't know that it's ever happened to win the game. There's been some that they've hit to tie it, but to win it and win it with, ball out of hand, zeros on the clock, ball goes to the net, that kind of they don't even do an inbounds with 0.1 second left. That the game ends. Not in my lifetime, and so yeah, that's why it's all the way up there. And because of that loss, LSU's not very good. And if you'd have lost that game, we're still having weird we're talking right now about this team would be they would have won 6 of the last 7 if they just would have beaten LSU, but because of the pass by Colin, the catch, and the shot from Malachi, we feeling a lot better than we would if it was for the alternative. I don't know that it's yes, it's not a huge win beating Matt McMahon's LSU Tigers. But
that's the connection with you and Murray State. Damn it. I knew there was a catch.
Former coaches being beaten all around, Jack, all around the Bluegrass. So just the way they won it, it's an all-time moment. It was a little bit personal for me. It was the last game my grandfather kept stats for, and so that was really special. So I'll never forget that moment or that game.
Mississippi State last year for you. Explain that one.
Oh, that was just, it was when I became the biggest Ansley Almanor fan.
Oh, God. I love him.
I know, maybe second to you as far as Ansley Almanor fan club goes.
Heart.
But yeah, as the vice president of the Ansley Almanor fan club, that was a lot of fun. But also it was the Jackson Robinson game. It was a top 15 Mississippi State team. You just got beat by Georgia. We're talking about how physical this Bulldog team is, this other Bulldog team is, and how it's going to be a tough game for Kentucky to win. I think it was another one we went down going, I don't feel good about this. Jackson Robinson plays his best game of the season. It's an unbelievable atmosphere, and once again, Kentucky walks off the floor as victors in Starkville, a place they haven't lost since 2007. So maybe 08, one of those. But that's why it's a top 10 for me.
Mine to wrap up. I Louisville belongs. You didn't have Louisville. Why is that?
Well, because I kind of thought last year I thought we'd beat them by more, quite honestly.
Interesting.
So I felt look, Lamont. The reason it should be up there is Lamont Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an unbelievable game. You're right. That's actually a good enough reason to have it in there, maybe over one of the other ones. Maybe I just take all the Tennessee ones out. We should expect to beat them at least in the regular season. But no, it's a good point about having. But the Lamont Butler game should be remembered maybe a little bit better than what I'm giving it.
I think the reason why I was so frustrated and used the first Cal game against Pope was the same reason why I'm giving him credit for that first Louisville game, because I thought his dudes were super prepared, because I thought Pat Kelsey had their guys prepared, and had Kentucky overlooked Louisville in the sense of like, hey, our roster's very obviously better than theirs. Like we're a big favorite for a reason. All those things. It's on our home floor. All of that. Like that could have been one that they lost. But I did think that Pope had them prepared, and like think of the message from former players, the video that came out before the game, and kind of like, hey, you need to understand what this game means. You have to know that if you're going to wear this jersey, there is nothing more important than getting this game. And we saw what unfolded the year after, unfortunately. But I felt in real time watching that, I was like, hey, these kids get it. Like, they get it, and it's because Pope gets it and the staff gets it. And that was a good showing from Pat Kelsey in Louisville, but it was just a better showing from Kentucky, led by Lamont Butler with his perfect 30 ball. So, yeah, I feel like that one is definitely belonging. Another one to wrap mine up, I had Gonzaga at number 9, but number 10 at Mizzou. That one, it maybe not the sexiest game in the world, but that was another one that Kentucky was a pretty nice underdog in that one. Missouri was playing really, really good basketball. They had some players. Caleb Grill was shooting the leather off the basketball and was kind of, one of the darlings of the SEC, and a ton of talent on that roster that it could have been easy to just let that one slip, focus on the SEC tournament the following week, focus on the NCAA tournament the week after that. And they went in and controlled that game from start to finish. And the reason why I think it needs to be on the list is that was the game that Pope made history. Kentucky made history. That was the 8th top 15 victory of the year to tie an all-time NCAA tournament record, or NCAA record. And I asked Pope after the game, I said, hey, what does it mean to you to, at a place where all we do is make history, it is the winningest tradition in the history of college basketball in its name, and you found a way in your first season to make more of it? How does that play on your mind? In the words of Jerry Tipton, shout out Jerry Tipton, and he kind of like taught, he was like, hey, it's really hard to make history here, and I don't want that to get lost on this season, that this was a historic day for the University of Kentucky because we did something that nobody else in the history of this school has ever done. So I think just how they were able to do that, and you were at that trip, right?
I was there.
Yeah,
you and Zach.
But like the celebration afterward, the fans lining up in the tunnel,
saying happy birthday,
saying happy birthday. All the players came out. Every single one of them came out, signed autographs, took pictures, and all of that. It was just a very cool, special. Like, all right, let's beautiful and way to end the regular season. Like, hey, this regular season was one, no matter what happens this point forward, this is one that we'll remember. It couldn't have gone better for what our expectations were for year one of Pope. So definitely deserving of that top 10 list. So that wraps both of ours up. Now that let's start wrapping this show up, because we got to get home.
Yeah. We got to get gas also.
Oh, we do need to get gas.
That's what I was 22
actually miles.
Do
we make it in time to get to a gas station?
Trying to get to Cynthiana.
Let's wrap this up with this question then. What does happen the rest of the season? We talked about, is it sustainable? Is it not sustainable? What is your expectation? I'm not holding it to you for the rest of the year. I'm not holding it to you, but the way you feel now, 2 hours away from home, coming home from Fayetteville, do you feel like that was it? That was the turning point. This is going to be the way Arkansas viewed the Kentucky game last year as the turning point. This is our version of that, and we're going to use this to, storm through the finish line and make another run.
Well, Jack, back on December 5th, I think it was, or maybe it was December 6th, after Kentucky got beat by 35 to Gonzaga, the game we can't stop talking about for whatever reason. I put out a tweet where I was like, okay, we vented. I really believe this will be better by the time we get to February. Bookmark this in case that I'm wrong, and you can call me out. I love when people do that. I said something along those lines. Well, that timed out really well for me, actually, because now we were on February 1st.
Nice, February 1st.
And you coming off a big win over Arkansas. I don't know that things have necessarily just, how great we feel about the team, and going forward, but you can start to set some expectations again. I feel like this we've been moving the field goal post closer and back and around and side to side, and we haven't really been able to figure this team out. They're very confusing. Trying to predict what this team can do is borderline impossible. I mean, they could beat Oklahoma by 30. They might lose. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? They might turn around and lose a game that they absolutely shouldn't.
Because they're an SMH team, as Mark Pope would say.
Yes, they very much so are SMH, and they. But I think that this should give it gives me confidence. This should give some fans confidence that Kentucky really can go up against almost anybody in that Elite 8, Sweet 16 range. You know, those fringe Elite 8 teams, Sweet 16 teams that I think Arkansas is, and beat them. And so if you can make the tournament, like, you can start to, assuming maybe you get Cam back, maybe you get JQ back, everyone else stay healthy, and hey, pull off an upset or two, and oh, look at this, we're playing a very, very, very meaningful NCAA tournament game. So that's kind of what the Arkansas win did for me. I don't know that I can even say, well, they're going to win, 6 of the next 9 games. Is it 9 games left now?
Yes.
They can win 5 of 9. How good would that make you feel? Would you feel like if you go 5-4 over the stretch of the next 9 games? That means you're still beating a couple good teams.
I think that was what Ken Palm had it as.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that would be a disappointment, or do you feel like you can live with that, or is that, hey, if they offered you that right now, would you take it?
I would love to only lose 3 the rest of the way. I would love to go into postseason with 10 losses, because that's what last year's was. Yeah. You finish with 12 losses, 10 regular season, and then 2.
So that would put you,
postseason.
12-6?
Yes.
And that might be good enough to get a double bye.
I think it should.
Okay.
I think that's where we're trending. I do. I tend to be higher on this group, not just. Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday did a lot. It built up a lot of goodwill back with me. So, I do feel that that's where we're trending. I think that they're going to not be perfect. I think they're going to have a couple, maybe not even like at South Carolina, it could get funky. That building is a house of horrors for them.
Yep.
But I fully expect them to go win same way that they beat Arkansas. Like, they're going to upset somebody again to make up for the South Carolina loss or whatever the case is. So when the ball stops bouncing and rolling and going high-low, in and out, I think that they're going to settle on a double bye. I think they're going to settle on a 12-6 record in the SEC, and I think that they're going to finish with what would that be? 6 seed? 7? 5?
You probably are approaching a 5 seed. You probably got a 6. If you go 12-6, I would think that would.
Does that dreaded 5 spot scare you?
No, because I mean, I know the 5 seed was never won the title.
Yeah.
Is that right? I mean, do I think this team with a 3 seed is going to win the title? Probably not, because of all the injuries and everything. So give me the best seed possible. All right. The one advantage, I guess, if you were a 6, like, there are 3s out there that you could beat, and then you're avoiding the 1 seed. Yeah. And you basically take the role of the 3 seed at that point. So the 1 seeds typically do make the Sweet 16. I think it's like 70-something% of the time a 1 seed is making the Sweet 16. So if you are a 4 or 5 seed and you make it to the 3rd round, you are going to likely be playing a 1 seed. So that makes things just a little bit more difficult. There's probably 4 teams right now that are just head and shoulders above everyone. You'd like to avoid them for as long as possible.
Well, it has to start on Tuesday. A big one, not necessarily a big one, but a have to have one if we're going to live up to the dreams that we're talking about here. It's going to be a late one, 9 p.m. Tuesday night against Oklahoma Sooners. Do you think they got it? Any concerns with that?
Predicting this team to do anything, it just makes us all look dumb. It's like trying to predict how many inches of snow you're going to get. It's like predicting that.
We are the experts, aren't we?
That's true. But predicting that snow is even happening, that's impressive enough for me. So, yes, there will be a game on Wednesday. Kentucky will be participating in it.
All right, fair enough. shout out to our friends at Parlor Pizza. They got us through the snowstorm. They got us through the trip to Fayetteville, and they're going to get through a trip to your hearts. Make them your game day destination from award-winning pizzas like the Doctor or fan favorite Hot Honey Pepperoni, my favorite Hot Honey Pepperoni, to Parlor's famous house smoked wings, an extensive craft beer selection. Parlor has a menu that will please the whole family. Their location on Harrisburg Road is just a short drive from Rupp Arena. Don't miss out on their great happy hour. Come in Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. and to enjoy discounted pints, cocktails, and starters. Parlor is looking forward to celebrating 2 new locations this year, coming soon to Lexington out at Hamburg and Richmond, Kentucky. So for Jack Pilgrim, for Stephen Peake, appreciate each and every one of you tuning in and letting us yap a little bit on this drive home. Let us kill some time and celebrate a big-time victory for the Kentucky Wildcats over the Arkansas Razorbacks. So for Jack, for Stephen, for all of you, we'll see you next time. Go Cats.